Hi, this is Tamara, and I want to show you today a treat that we're going to make from the 21-day fix meal plan. So if you're following along on the 21-day fix, this is a treat that can be substituted for one of your yellow containers, so one of the carb containers, okay? You're allowed to make a substitution for one of those yellow containers 3 times a week, and no more than 3 times a week. So, but it's to allow your body to have something maybe a little bit sweet if you're craving that. Some of us do crave that. I know I do, particularly after dinner. Okay, so what we're going to make today are banana oatmeal cookies. And I'm just going to, got all my ingredients laid out here for you. What we're going to do is start with a medium-sized bowl. And we're going to put 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. So I've got one already measured out. I'll measure out another here. I've got my ground Saigon cinnamon, my fancy cinnamon here. It's really delicious. Use it a lot in my Shakeology, by the way. Great addition for your Shakeology shakes. So 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I've got 1/4 teaspoon of salt and the oats. I'm going to reach over here for a wooden spoon. And I'm just going to toss those together so that the oats are lightly coated with the cinnamon and the salt. It's just making sure everything's evenly distributed in there. Okay? Now the next thing that we're going to do is it requires 2 ripe bananas mashed. So I've got my bananas broken up into a smaller bowl. I'm just going to mash those with a fork. Okay, so get them a little bit softened, and they will provide some binding for the other ingredients. And this is actually a pretty healthy treat as treats go. Some of the other treats that we're going to be making have chocolate and other, dare I say, more decadent ingredients in them. But, you know, as treats go, this is a pretty healthy one. Oatmeal and bananas being the primary ingredients. Okay, so we've got these just about mashed. Okay. My bananas might have been a little riper, but we're doing fine. Alright. Okay, so we're going to add the bananas to our oatmeal mix here. Okay. And in addition, what we're going to add are raisins and walnuts. We've got 1/4 cup of raisins. Now, let me just take a side note here. The recipe calls for golden raisins. And my local Sprouts supermarket does have golden raisins in bulk, but they contain sulfur. And in our household, we really try to do sulfur-free dried fruits when we do eat dried fruits. So I went with a slightly different raisin, but one that does not have sulfur. So sometimes you do need to modify, and we're going to modify in this case. Hopefully it's going to be just as delicious. And I've also got a 1/4 cup of diced walnuts, okay? Finely chopped walnuts. Okay, again, we're just going to mix all of that in. Mix well. Okay, so again, the banana just provides the moisture that we need to bind the oats and the other ingredients together. Okay. And so what I've done to prepare putting this in the oven, we've got the oven preheated to 350 degrees. And I've got a baking pan, a cookie sheet, that called for being greased. Now, it said to use cooking spray. We don't have any cooking spray in the house. We don't tend to use that, but I improvised and I used a little bit of coconut oil that we do use when we're cooking here in the house. So again, sometimes you have to just improvise when you don't have exactly everything, but it gets you where you need to go. Okay, that looks pretty mixed, pretty well mixed to me. Now it calls for scooping these out. We're going to come over here where I've got my cookie sheet already prepared. And bring this into better view for you here. It's already greased, okay? And it just asks you to make tablespoon-size cookies. So I'm going to take these a little bit at a time, a scoop at a time. You could probably, you know, if you want to make them a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, but it does say to take a tablespoon. Okay, that's probably about a tablespoon right there. And I think we probably will end up filling this, this cookie sheet by the end here. Try to get them more or less uniform as you do with any cookies, so that you don't have some that cook or burn potentially before the others. And it says to flatten them with a spatula. I'm just kind of flattening as I go with the spoon here. You can, again, do whatever works for you. Everybody's got a little bit different take on this. I love to bake, and I love making cookies, so I'm really excited to see how this treat's going to turn out. Also because, like I said, I do like something a little sweet, and I do crave something sweet after dinner, so I will admit this will be a fun treat. And we're going to try them out tonight. So I'm going to finish filling the tray. I'm going to put the tray in the oven. We're going to cook those for 14 or 15 minutes, and we'll be back with you when those are ready and coming out of the oven. We'll show you what they look like then. All right, you ready? Here's the moment of truth. So I just took one rack out. I'm going to take this other rack out, this other tin baking sheet, and it says to cook them for 14 or 15 minutes until they get hard. Well, depending upon your oven, this was 12 minutes for me, and they're hard already. So I'm actually going to start scooping them off here, and I've got these cooling racks prepared, so we'll put them on here so we can then taste them. So again, what I want you to see here, actually before I take them all off, this recipe, it makes 8 servings, and each serving is 2 cookies. So it's 16 cookies altogether, so that's one cooking sheet I have here of 12, and then an additional 4 for the 16. So one serving is 2 cookies, and one serving is meant to replace 1 yellow container 3 times a week should you choose. Okay, so you can have an extra treat. There are some other treats in the 21-day recipe book, and we're going to be making some of those other treats, so stay tuned. And the one thing I wanted to say is the reason they've built this in, you know, when you're eating healthy, it's not about depriving yourself. It's not about never having anything sweet or never having anything, you know, that's a little decadent. If you want something sweet, that's fine. Just be healthy with your choices. And what the 21-day fix is really meant to do is to train you to think differently about what you're eating, what you're taking into your body. So this is a healthy option that's also going to satisfy that sweet tooth of yours. So it's just retraining you into how to make smarter choices. Alright, so 21-day fix. This is treat number 1, oatmeal banana cookies. We'll be back with more.